Welcome to Learn to Live Stress-Free. This is Christine Wright with Dr. Robert Wright Jr., your go-to wellness coaches of www.stressfreenow.info. Our guest today is Laura Norman. Laura Norman is the founder of the Laura Norman Holistic Reflexology Centers in New York City, the Berkshires, and South Florida. Laura is the foremost authority on reflexology and an educator with 3 master's degrees in education. She is also a nationally certified reflexologist, licensed massage therapist, esthetician, and life wellness coach. Laura is author of the best-selling book, Feet First, A Guide to Foot Reflexology, which is published in several languages and has sold 500,000 copies worldwide. She is regularly featured in major magazines and newspapers, on TV, radio, and the Internet via her iTunes podcast and YouTube channel. For over 40 years, Laura has pursued her mission of making the science of reflexology understood, appreciated, and available around the world. Laura developed the most comprehensive reflexology training programs available and offers her programs at spas, salons, wellness centers, universities, hospitals, massage schools, the New York Podiatry College, Hippocrates Health Institute, as well as her own reflexology training centers. Laura Norman and her associates offer reflexology, life wellness coaching, and other complementary health services at her holistic reflexology centers. We're very pleased to have Laura here today to share with us how Laura Norman Holistic Reflexology can have a dramatic impact on your life. Laura, welcome.
Thank you, Christine and Bob. I'm thrilled to be with you.
Yes. Hi, Laura. We're so happy that you could join us today.
Thank you.
Laura, would you tell us about yourself and tell our audience what led you to the work that you're currently doing?
Sure. It's actually almost my anniversary. In November, it'll be 44 years that I was introduced to reflexology. I was in college at Boston University, and I was going through a really stressful time in my life. You know, here I was 20 years old, actually, and I was dealing with my dad wasn't well. I was concerned about finances. My boyfriend had broken up with me. I was just really scared. I was stressed. I really was at my wit's end, more than any other time in my life. And a friend of mine came to visit me, my friend Judy from the West Coast, from California, where everything happened there before the East Coast. And she said to me, Laura, I've never seen you so stressed out. She said, I have the perfect thing for you. And she said, take off your shoes and socks, go lie down on your bed. And she came in the room, she dimmed the lights, put on some soft music, pulled up a chair to the foot of my bed, and started to rub down my feet with some steaming wet hot washcloths that she had squeezed some lemons and limes. And back then we didn't know about aromatherapy. So she was a waitress at a restaurant where they put lemons and limes in the washcloths to freshen your hands. So anyway, she came in and started rubbing down my feet with these steaming hot washcloths. Well, that was heaven to begin with. Then she took some cream and warmed it up in her hands and applied it to my feet and started to press and squeeze and knead my feet. Well, I felt like I was floating. It was just so awesome. And then she started to apply pressure to very specific parts of my feet, which she said corresponded to various parts of my body. And she also said that there were thousands of nerves in my feet, and that's why it was so soothing. It was so calming. I never had relaxed as much in such a short period of time from anything. And I had experienced some types of massage and body work, and I was very interested in healing work and consciousness work, and that's why she knew I would be open to this. But it was so profound, and when she was done, I felt so relaxed, as I said, but it was also interesting because at the same time feeling really relaxed, there was this energy surging through me. And I just felt so wonderful that I said, wow, I want more of this. And she was just visiting for like a week, and I had a couple of roommates in college, and we encouraged her to stay because she worked on all of us. And she ended up sticking around for like a month. Well, I had reflexology with her as much as, she would give me, and I was like a different person after that month. And when I had that kind of response, I said, wow, I would love to be able to do this. I would really be able to help people feel better and contribute to people and make a difference like I had. And so you know how they say when you're ready, your teacher will appear. Well, there was an institute in Boston called Hippocrates Health Institute, and that now there are a few around the country, and I actually teach at the one in Florida now. It came back full circle that I now train the health educators at Hippocrates Health Institute in West Palm Beach. So anyway, it was the beginning for me where I just, loved it so much, loved receiving it, loved giving it, and then I just started giving it to whoever would let me. And back then, this was in 1970 where I first experienced this. And so there weren't too many people doing this, and they would look at me a little strangely. And at that time, I was mainly working on the feet. Now we've expanded to the hands, the face, the ears. But at that time, when I would say to people who would have a headache or a backache or digestive problems, well, let me work on your feet. They would say, oh, come on, Laura, through the feet you're going to help my neck or my back. And I would say, yes, it's all interconnected. Just give me the opportunity to share it with you. And I would, be with somebody who was cutting my hair, or I'd be with my dentist or eye doctor who would say to me, my back hurts or my neck hurts from leaning over. And I would say, switch seats with me. Let me just do something for you that will help alleviate it. And that's how it began, just me sharing it with whoever would allow me to. And word got out that, wow, this works. And these people would tell people and tell their friends and tell their families, and they would say, there's this woman who works on your feet who can really help your body, mind, and spirit. And I'll talk a little more about, as we continue, about how reflexology is more, my method of reflexology is more than working physically. It's working mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So it's very powerful. It's very holistic for the whole person. And so that's how I got started.
Well, that's a beautiful story, Laura. Thank you. I could hear the enthusiasm, and you definitely sounded like a young woman in love. You really found your path with this work.
Yes.
Yeah, Laura, very, very, very amazing. Laura, as the foremost authority on healing using reflexology, can you tell our audience why it's a good idea to pay attention to their stressors that lead to chronic pain, and how and why reflexology serves as an ideal way to minimize and dissolve chronic pain and stress?
Yes. Well, as you said, stress is the major cause of pain, of illness, of health issues. Stress either causes or aggravates any health issue. So the main thing that reflexology does, as I had mentioned when I shared when my friend Judy worked on me, that she had said that there were thousands of nerves in your feet, in your hands, in your face, in your ears, and particularly your feet have nearly 15,000 nerves and that innervate every part of your body, each organ gland, and actually each of these parts, the hands, the face, ears, innervate every organ gland and part of your body. So, and because of all the thousands of nerves, it's so soothing, calming, and relaxation is the key to better health. When you relax, everything in your body can function at a more optimal level. Your circulation can flow, because when you're stressed, uptight, it reduces, it actually it constricts. Your circulation doesn't flow as well. So reflexology helps to reduce the vascular constriction, so your blood and nerve supply can flow more freely. And when your circulation is improved, it can help eliminate, cleanse toxins. It helps to normalize your body. It helps to strengthen. Just as they say, like stress breaks down your immune system. Well, when you relax, it's going to help strengthen your immune system, strengthen all of your systems, and help you be more in balance and help you feel good. And, I loved when we had a conversation, Bob, Christine, and I were talking yesterday, and you were talking about your show and how what it's about is, helping people feel good and enjoying themselves and having fun, and that, your show is about this. And that is the key. When people feel good, everything flows in their life. It's so important. And what happens is when people have the reflexology, first of all, it's so loving and nurturing. And that's what we all desire, is the loving and the caring, the nurturing, the pampering. And then they relax, they let go. Also, reflexology is non-invasive, where I love massage, but, you get all undressed, you're a little more exposed, and even though you may be undercover, and with reflexology, you're totally dressed. Your hands are accessible, your feet, your head, to work the face and ears. So people feel very safe and secure. And then I even usually use a cover over them, whether if it's warm, even just a light cotton cover, or if it's, cooler, to give them a nice comfy flannel comforter. And so people feel very cozy and very safe and secure. And it allows them to go into a space of allowing, of just letting go. And when you are in that place of allowing is where everything happens, where you can more easily receive. And so what I do is combine with the reflexology sessions some visualization and imagery, and having people focus on their life goals while they're in this relaxed, open, receptive place. It's a similar experience like with hypnosis, when you go into a relaxed, deep trance. People often say to me, I feel like I was in a trance when I was having the reflexology. And then when people are in that state, they're very receptive to suggestion they give themselves. So I have them focus on what they would like to have happen in their lives, and direct the energy of the reflexology session while they're in this relaxed, open, receptive place to focus on what they'd like for themselves. As I said, when you're in a feeling good place, anything is possible. So you can be thinking about what you would like while you're having reflexology. Your most powerful moments of thought are when you're relaxed, like when you go to sleep at night. Before you go to sleep, to think good thoughts. Think about what you would like for yourself the next day, or be in appreciation of what happened for you that day. And then when you wake up in the morning, that's another powerful time of thought, because again, you're more relaxed and open and clearer. So again, when you wake up in the morning, think good thoughts, envision your day, and plan it out in your mind. And you can direct the energy with the power of your mind. Also, the power of your words are so important. What you think, what you say is what happens and what we create. So I encourage people to think positively, speak positively, and to do whatever you can to feel good. For some, it's reflexology. For some, it's yoga, meditation, taking a walk, listening to music, painting, drawing, petting your dog or cat. You know, whatever you can do to help feel good, to de-stress, is going to help you feel better, to help you create more of what you would like in your life. So reflexology is one way, and it's a very powerful, easy way. You can even work on yourself. You could read my book, Feet First, A Guide to Foot Reflexology. We also have DVDs for the feet to learn how to work on your own feet or a loved one's feet or your hands or your face. And you can do this yourself very easily. And you can also learn to work on loved ones, or you may even consider shifting careers or adding it as a second career. So many people today are looking for additional income streams. Well, you could keep your day job and learn reflexology and do it part-time. That's how I started. I started out, I was a teacher. I was working with special needs children, and I started actually using this too with the kids, the hyperactive kids that would calm down, the slower ones, it would help stimulate them and improve their concentration span. So I started out using it with children. And then what would happen is their parents or the other teachers I was working with, or the head of the school, or the nurse and the doctors that were affiliated with the school would say to me, wow, something's shifting with these children. What are you doing in that class?
Laura, I found the beauty is that the shift is so immediate. When I took your introductory weekend, I don't remember what point we were working on, and I noticed everyone in the class, when they came back the next day, they were reporting it had something to do with the digestive system. And I'm not completely remembering, but that night everyone said, oh, I wasn't hungry or I was famished. That the shift, you notice it immediately. And
yeah.
I remember my session with you. I just really felt totally, enveloped, as you mentioned, in that relaxed state that you had me in when you put the cloths on my feet. I was just, you had me completely. Laura, let's take a break. Audience, will be back in a moment on Learn to Live Stress-Free. We're speaking with our featured guest today, Laura Norman, on reflexology and stress relief.
Hi, I'm Dr. Robert Wright, Jr., the Stress Relief Doctor, co-host of the Learn to Live Stress-Free podcast series. I'm an author, speaker, and stress management wellness coach. My published study is the first to show the connection between stress reduction, grief recovery, nitric oxide spiking, and the relaxation response. And my practical application of this knowledge helps you relieve the stresses of everyday life. I have the tools to dissolve your pain points quickly and effectively. Email me to find out how you can start to feel better now at stressfreenow.info/contact. That's stressfreenow.info/contact. Have you been procrastinating about completing an important project or pursuing a treasured dream? Christine Wright specializes in helping her coaching clients to lay out clear, elegant strategies. She shows you how to quickly build your confidence to uncover and eliminate your habitual patterns of resistance and self-sabotage. Christine helps you discover those meaningful insights that will get you to do what works so you can celebrate your successes. Go to stressfreenow.info/contact to let Christine know that you're ready to live your ideal life now. Again, that's stressfreenow.info/contact.
Welcome back to Learn to Live Stress-Free. We're speaking today with Laura Norman on reflexology and stress relief. Laura, you were telling us how relaxed clients feel after they've taken a session?
It's just about everybody. I don't think I've had anybody that hasn't said, that, wow, I relaxed more from this than anything. And I think part of it is that it's not invasive, and like even when you do have a massage and they're working each part of your body, which is wonderful, your attention though is with each part. And are they going to do my breath? Are they going to do my butt? Am I going to, and just following along. Whereas this, you're just at the feet or just at the head or the hands. So people, as I said, feel very safe, secure, and just let go more easily. And then amazing things happen physically. People feel better, their aches, pains. People come in, they're stressed out, in pain, they're anxious or, exhausted or whatever was going on in their life, in their day, and they leave like within an hour, or sometimes I do longer sessions if I do feet, hands, face, and ears, and some coaching with it. It could be 2 hours. But within such a short period of time, they leave feeling calm, clear, focused, so relaxed and energized and connected. That's another thing, that what happens when you have the reflexology, it gives you the time to really just connect with yourself, to really be with yourself in a calm, clear place, whether you're working on yourself or somebody is working on you. Many people feel that it's more relaxing having somebody do it for you, because you can just lie back. And though it really does work to do it on yourself, I work on myself every night in the bathtub. I just lift up each foot and work on myself while I'm in my bubble bath with my essential oils, and it's wonderful. Or when I wake up in the morning, I'll just bring my foot to me, lying flat on my back, and I'll just bring my one foot and then the other foot and just get my day started. Or at the end of the day, if I'm feeling like I could use a little relaxation, I just, touch my feet, work on my feet, or do my hands, or do my ears, or touch places on my face, and I just can settle into my sleep, and it's just such a great tool to have literally at your fingertips. So accessible.
Yes, Laura, I've been listening to you, and I've been figuring, this conversation feels a little bit like double Dutch. If you remember when we were kids, with the double Dutch, and figuring when you're going to jump in. And so the reason I'm coming in here is that so much of what you said, and then when Christine talked about her personal experience of you having worked on her, is an example of both serendipity and synchronicity. And here's what I mean. The first thing is that I recently wrote an article about the importance of expressing gratitude. I think the title of the article is "Have You Ever Experienced a Miracle or Ever Had a Miracle?" And so when you mentioned the gratitude, that made me think of, I just wrote an article about that. Another thing that you brought up, this issue of a heightened relaxation response that reflexology causes. You described it as letting go and allowing, and I think that's very important. When you were talking about it, what it made me think of is that the reflexology at the highest level, what it's doing is creating a still point, because you mentioned that you are combining it with people doing affirmations or some type of suggestion. And so when you were talking, what it made me think of was the still point. And then when you mentioned trance, Milton Erickson, he talked about that trance was that place where you reach where the person can achieve change, because the trance allows the person to become still. And then in the case with the hypnosis, it would the therapist using words to help create change, or if the person's using self-hypnosis. I thought that's so interesting. You talked about reflexology both when a person is working on you and then also when you work on yourself. And so one of the things that I like about the issue of reflexology is that when you work on yourself, you have easy access. So you have easy access to your hands, your feet, your ears, your face. However, when someone else works on you, in addition to increasing the allowing aspect, is that there's an exchange of energy. And so I know you will talk about that a little later in terms of the art of reflexology. I think there's an energy exchange. And so what I wanted to mention about this still point is that in hypnosis, it's called trance. In other literature, it's called still point. And then in physics or science, it's called the chaotic attractor. And so I just want to mention that is not my original idea. That is the synthesis that a brilliant gentleman named Dr. John Bilal, who is the nitric oxide biking guru. And so I just want to mention that the way that you describe reflexology, it creates a state of flow. And so I want to thank you because what you're talking about and the way you're talking about syncs very well with our approach, which is our motto is feel better now. And so I want to thank you for the things that you have said.
Yes, well, thank you for adding that because that was valuable information. And it is about feeling good. That's why we're here. That's why I think the source brought us, in his image to feel great and to enjoy our lives. And that's why it's so wonderful that you're doing this program, to help people realize the many ways that they can reduce their stress and feel better. This is why we're here. This is what it's all about. And your life works when you feel good. And whatever you can do to pivot out of the stress to feel better will help create whatever it is you're desiring. Because I believe what we put our attention on grows stronger. So putting your attention on what you desire and putting that out there to the universe and putting your attention on that, you know about the law of attraction, that we attract where we each are energetically. So that's why it's so important to think positively, speak positively, and do things to help you relax, let go, feel better, so, you can have your heart's desires. And people come to us, as reflexologists and with the coaching, with all kinds of issues, whether they're physical. We work with people, with all kinds of, back issues, headaches, digestive problems, PMS, women's issues, men's issues, all kinds of health issues, as well as helping to support them with their goals. Like I had somebody who shared when she came in for her reflexology session that one of her desires was to have a romantic relationship. And I, had her share, well, what would that feel like? And she would say, oh, it'd be so wonderful to feel loved and supported and cared for and happy and all that. And she got into that vibration, that energy. And then I worked on her and I had her visualize, more of what this would be like. And then she left my studio and went to the supermarket and was picking melons. And there was a gentleman standing next to her who said, gee, do you think, you could help me pick, how do you know if it's sweet or if it's ripe or whatever? And they ended up talking, kidding around, and then went for a cup of coffee or tea or whatever. And now, they've been dating and really in love. And it happened instantly that she left me and from what she was envisioning, and she was in this feeling good place, and she attracted what she wanted immediately in the supermarket. So it could be anywhere.
That's great evidence, Laura, of the good work that you do and how quickly you do it. Bob and I often talk about that with each other and with our shows, that much of what we experience in the world is mindset. I, too, am a student and teacher of law of attraction, and I use that in my practice. That people aren't often aware that they create with their thoughts. That what we think of,
and words,
what we focus on, what we give attention to. And we're not always, especially when you say the words. I mean, that's the idea of when, I've had my session with you, that the words create a state of being combined with the reflexology, with you working on the feet, that give this state of relaxation where you're able to create more readily without any resistance.
Yes,
You're
open to possibilities.
Right. Because
Laura, just to piggyback on this, since we've opened the door to law of attraction. One thing that's very interesting is when we had the opportunity to have an in-person session with the Law of Attraction Authority, Michael Logier, I asked him this question about negative words, because generally it's thought you remove words no, not no. And so one of the jokes that I have with someone who's very close to me, when I ask them, how's it going? How are you doing today? And they go, not bad, which is double negative.
Right,
so
exactly.
The thing, what's interesting, what Michael Logier said, and I agree with it, very good insight, which he said, is that generally that you want to, the words no, not, and don't are tend to be negative, so you want to eliminate them from your vocabulary. However, what it's really about is the vibration of the word. So when the person says to me, not bad, I've often said to them, is that the same as good? And for them, it is. And so their vibration is actually positive when they say not bad. So, double negative can be a positive, but it could be a double negative.
Right. So, it could be an indicator unconsciously of what they're feeling like not bad. Well, it's okay. And if it was really great, I think that they would be exuding that energy and vibration. And yes, it may be a step up for them of not bad, a better feeling place. And I feel the words really are indicators. And when we listen, we really hear the energy and vibration behind the words. So, but I hear your point was that for them, that was good.
Right. So, Laura, I want to ask you this question. Can since you're so knowledgeable about this area, can you just briefly tell our audience a little bit about the history of reflexology, how it was used in ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, ancient Babylon, and how it serves as a modern and healing art that has withstood the test of time?
Yes. Well, I have a picture of something that was hanging in the London Museum, that is hanging in the London Museum, that depicts in ancient Egypt in 2300 BC. It's an illustration of somebody working on the feet, and it was it was the graphics on a physician's tomb in 2300 BC, showing someone working on the hands and the feet. So we have traces from back then, over 5,000 years ago, showing that they knew to work on the hands and the feet, and then the wording, the translation was how powerful and effective this was, and then, so we know that the Egyptians used it way back then. We know that the Russians, the ancient Chinese and Japanese used used working on the hands and feet. They didn't call it reflexology, but they knew there were powerful effects. And then it was in the early 1900s that there were medical doctors in our country that kind of rediscovered it. And at first, it was actually called zone therapy. And there was a Dr. Riley, a Dr. Fitzgerald, and a physiotherapist in the early 1900s that kind of redeveloped it, brought it back, and created the mapping. And then, over the years, it has, grown, and especially since I know the early 70s when I said, people looked at me like, what, and now it's so exciting to see the recognition that and the credibility that it has, that it's now being used in hospitals, in wellness centers, in doctors' offices. Now even like dentists are incorporating it. Various doctors, plastic surgeons are using it. Dr. Oz is using it pre and post heart surgery, cardiac surgery. He says that all his patients he has them have reflexology.
It makes absolute sense.
Yes.
Laura, and I think in large part this is due to your work, because as you said, when you first came across this, 44 years ago, this wasn't well known, and now it's much more known, I think, in large part to the work that you do. And your style, you're very welcome, is so
thank you. Yeah,
special and different. And the unique part of it is you. I love your slogan, Soul, S-O-L-E, to Soul, S-O-U-L. Tell our audience, Laura, more about the distinction of your Laura Norman holistic reflexology.
Thank you. And I just wanted to mention to another doctor who many of your listeners may know of before just going on to that, is like Dr. Bernie Siegel, who's a cancer surgeon at Yale, who's written a lot of books. He's also like been a major proponent of reflexology and seeing the results with his patients. So anyway, okay, so now the Soul to Soul is really about, again, it's when people relax and connect to themselves, to their soul. It's like, we start at the SOLE, soothing them, calming them, and then it allows them to really connect with who they are. And I believe who we are is one with everybody and with the source of it all. And when we remember that, our oneness with each other and with the all-powerful, whatever someone calls it, the all-powerful may be the universe. It may be, may call it that. They may call it God. They may call it the creator, the source. And what I feel is that we are all connected. And when we remember that connection, we remember how powerful each of us are to create, to do whatever it is we're desiring. And that's really what I feel reflexology helps people do, is to just relax, connect, and be one with themselves and with everything. And that's what it's about.
Thank you, Laura. I think that's why I, even if I have not, always been in touch or seen you, have been connected with you since the first time I met you. So, Bob and I really want to thank you for being our guest. And if you could tell our audience a little bit about your programs and how they could work with you, I know they would find that of value.
Thank you. Yes. Well, we offer anywhere from, introductory classes for people to learn to do this for themselves, your family, your friends, to a certification training program. And we have certification for the feet, we have a certification for the hands, and we have a certification for the face and ears. And, most people do all of them, but some people are guided and drawn to just focus on the feet or the hands or the face and ears. And anybody could come and take our classes. We've had, moms come and bring their teenage child with them, or a teenager bring their grandmother to the class, or couples come and take our classes to enhance their relationships, to really have a way to connect with each other and to enhance their relationships. And then we have people that we train who are new at doing this, who want to totally start a new career in healing and wellness. And so, we have people from all walks of life. They could be, coming from any profession or no profession to learning this, to people in the medical field. We do train a lot of nurses and physical therapists and occupational therapists. By the way, we are a CE, continuing education providers. So people can get continuing education credits if they're a massage therapist or physical occupational therapist. And then we train people who do skincare, who want to add reflexology, working. They often do the hands or feet when they're, giving a facial, or we have nail techs who are doing manicures and pedicures who learn to do hand and foot reflexology. And so, we've had people from the corporate world who want to totally change professions and do something more healing and making a difference in people's lives. And we have classes going on ongoingly each month. So, and they're ongoing, the classes. We will, if somebody who's listening to your podcast who would like to learn it and they live in another part of the country, we would send a teacher to your area, because I have people who call me, do you teach in Oregon, or do you have anybody in Arizona? So what I'll offer is that if that person is interested in organizing a class of a minimum of like 20 people, we'll send an instructor to that area to do the training. And they actually get the course for free for organizing it. Yeah. So we're, available to go around the country and teach, or you could come to our training centers in New York City, Florida, and the Berkshires.
That's wonderful, Laura. Thank you. So, audience, you can connect with Laura and learn more about her at lauranorman.com. That's www.lauranorman.com, lauranorman.com, or you can also call in at 800-FEET-FIRST. That's 800-FEET-FIRST.
Which is also the name of my book. So anyone could pick up Feet First. And also, if you would like to be able to learn at home and do this, we have videos and, DVDs that you could purchase on the feet, the hands, and the face. And you could learn to do this at home and follow along and do it on either yourself or family member, friend, or to consider this being the first step towards a new profession.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Laura. Right before we wrap up, I just want to thank you again and say to you that when you mentioned Dr. Bernie Siegel's name, that was another example of letting me know that, talking with you today was being in the right place at the right time. And here's what I mean. There's no way that you could know this, but when I was hospitalized for stress burnout many, many, many years ago, it was because I had read Dr. Bernie Siegel's book that I stumbled into the field of psychoneuroimmunology. Also, fast forward into a couple of years ago, I have other colleagues who teach at the Graduate Institute in Connecticut. And when I went to the website, lo and behold, there was Dr. Bernie Siegel. He's on the faculty there, besides being on the faculty at Yale Med School. And so when you mentioned his name, I said, well, this is pretty amazing, because my latest book is called 7 Tips for Avoiding Stress Burnout for Busy Entrepreneurs. And you're mentioning his name because I actually mentioned his name in the book, and in my last podcast, I was talking about him. And so what's interesting is that I've never met him, and so I hope to correct that the next time I go to Connecticut. So what I want to say to you is, what final thoughts or key idea would you like our audience to take away from today's broadcast?
Is to do things to help yourself feel better. As I said, whatever that is, and I invite you to experience reflexology to help you feel better. And so that's it.
Okay, wonderful, Laura.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
for anyone in our audience who would like to be in touch with Laura Norman, it's www.lauranorman.com, or you can call at the 1-800-FEET-FIRST. And I want to thank our audience for listening, wherever you are and whatever time zone you're in right now. We appreciate your presence and trust that you'll benefit in some way from the information delivered during today's show. We welcome and look forward to receiving your comments about our show. Please let us know if there are additional topics you'd like us to cover or a guest you enjoyed whom you'd like us to invite back. Please contact us through our website with your feedback and suggestions. Remember, listeners, if you'd like to experience the same benefits our coaching clients get with us, including learning how to get more results in your day and easy ways to dissolve your chronic pain, stress, and anxiety, then give us a call at 954-900-2179. That's 954-900-2179. For Christine Wright, this is Dr. Robert Wright, Jr. of www.stressfreenow.info. Until next time, be safe and be well.